Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series for International Economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at section 4.5, International Labor Mobility. In particular, this relates to chapter 5. It's exercise 5.12. I'm doing this because on the module number 1 test, this is the question that posed the most difficulty for students. So I thought it would be good, number 1, to provide a video for students who might be taking the optional final at the end of the semester, and also to build up a little video catalog for the course itself that more directly relates to topics that students had difficulty with during the course. As this course is the first time this course has been offered online here, I thought it'd be a good idea to augment some of the videos that were already made. So here you have a mock-up of what the diagram looked like in that particular question. You have the relationship between the marginal product of labor here and the quantity of labor here. You are given the real wage rate. Here is given as 20, and here is the marginal product of labor. And in the question, you were asked to calculate the change in the land rents and the change in the total payments to labor. So I think it's important, number one, in order to do that, you know how to calculate each and what they look like physically on the graph. Here you can see this disgusting yellow color here is the land rents. It's the area above the real wage rate and below the marginal product of labor. So that triangle that is created there gives you the land rents. And the formula for that is just a formula for a triangle. It's 1/2 base times height. So in our example here, the quantity of labor is equal to 60. The height is equal to 30, which is just 50 minus 20. That gives you the height of that triangle. So you have 1/2 times 60 times 30, which gives you 900. The total payments to labor is just going to be the real wage rate multiplied by the number of workers that are hired. So the real wage rate is equal to 20. 60 individuals are hired. So 60 times 20 gives us 1,200. So let's assume that the real wage rate increases by, let's say, 10. So I'm just going to cheat and duplicate this and move it upward here. So this is the new real wage rate. And I guess I should signify that by something, and I'll call that star. I believe in your question, it was just given a hash mark next to it. So this represents the $10 increase in the real wage rate, and we want to calculate what the new land rents are and what the new total payment of labor is. So the new equilibrium quantity of labor is going to be where the real wage rate intersects the marginal product of labor. So where they intersect one another, if we go straight down from that point, and let me actually change the color of that to be a little more consistent. We'll make it a darker color. So where they intersect, and let me make it consistent so we have the same font. I believe that was 20 at the bottom. No, what was it? 24? So let me make sure that that's consistent so it's visually appealing for all the students watching this or anybody on YouTube who for some reason is watching videos on international economics. So when the real wage rate increases, that's represented by the vertical distance here. So we talked about a $10 increase in the real wage rate. So this is the new real wage rate. Where that intersects the original marginal product of labor curve gives us the new equilibrium amount of labor, which is equal to 40. So what is going to be the new area for the land rents? It's going to be this area here. Let me actually draw that in for you or fill that in. This is the new land rents that we are going to see given the new real wage rate. And let me change the color of that. No, I want that. I want this. There, that's what I want. So this is now going to be the new land rent. So we have to calculate that. And let me, again, cheat a little bit, copy and paste. I'll duplicate that and move that down. And let me change that to a 1. So it's still going to be 1/2 the base times the height. All right, the base is not 60 anymore. It is equal to 40. And the height is no longer 30. It's going to be equal to 20. It's going to be 50 minus 30. So it's 20. So it is 800, 1/2 of 800, which is equal to 400. So that is the new land rents. And as you can see here, the change in the land rents is going to be equal to 500. Excuse me for a second. So here was the original area. So it was 60, which is the amount of labor that is being hired, multiplied by 30, which is the difference between 50 and 20, and 1/2 of that. So that gives us 900, and we now have 400 as the new land rent. So the change in the land rent is going to be 900 minus 500, minus 400. So we're going to see a decrease of 500 for the land rents due to the fact that the real wage rate increased by $10. Now let's take a look at what the area for the new total payments to labor is going to be. We highlight that area, and I will change the color to make it so it is matching, and that does not look good. So let me redo this one more time. So this area right here, why does it keep doing that? Let me do it one more time. There we go. And let me change the color to whatever that blue was. That's not the same blue. Is it this blue? That looks like that blue. All right, so this was the original total payments to labor. It was 60, which is the amount of workers being hired, multiplied by 20, which gives us 1,200. Now this is the new area, so we have to recalculate. It's going to be 40 times 30, which is going to be 1,200. And let me copy this. Let me duplicate it. So the base is now equal to 40. The height is equal to 30, and that gives us back to that 1,200. So from here, you can see that there was no change in the total payments of labor. The original total payments of labor was equal to 1,200. When the real wage rate went up to 30, we get the same total payments of labor. And let me make sure I change that subscript to make sure it is it's easy for everybody to read here. So that's how you work through that problem. And I think the difficulty is, probably the number one difficulty is, people didn't realize how to calculate what the land rents are. Remember that the land rent is the area above the real wage rate, but below the marginal product of labor. So this here is the original land rents, and the payments to workers is the real wage rate multiplied by the total number of workers. So here is the original total payments to workers, or the total payments to labor. Then all you do is you draw in a new real wage rate that reflects the change that is described. Here I told you that there was a $10 increase in the real wage rate. So that will give us a new equilibrium labor level. And once we get that, we calculate the area of this, which gives us the new land rents. We calculate the area of this, which gives us the new total payments to labor, and we subtract those from the original amounts to calculate what the changes in the land rents and the changes in the total payments to labor. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to post or the announcement that this is going to be available. In particular, if you didn't understand how to do this problem, it'd be a good idea to review this, especially if you think you're going to be taking the optional final at the end of the year. There's a high probability that this will appear on the optional final. So make sure that if you were uncomfortable doing this, or especially if you think you're going to be taking the optional final at the end of the semester, that you take the opportunity to watch the video.